This one here came to us, customers out of state, Suburban, Misfire going on. We pull it in, go ahead and check history, pull codes, check history, and history is pointing a finger, cylinder 4 being the primary culprit. This is a snapshot, and let's see if you guys can see it. But cylinder 4 is 69,800 misses, cylinder 2 8,000, 6 and 8 2 all seem to be a bank problem. There was some recent repair on, unfortunately, and on that bank. Not going to bother to get into that one. But here is we have a cam position performance issue, misfires, and cylinder deactivation test failed. Well, I'm hearing a bad cadence. So I'm gonna do a relative compression test, and I may grab an end cylinder on a suspect cylinder that gets picked on, because the cadence does sound like to me we got a dead hole. And I may grab an end cylinder from that to verify, is it the intake, which would be associated with our deactivation system, and possibly point a finger at that problem there. And of course notify whoever did previous repair and let them take care of it from there. But we're going to do some diagnosis. Customer asked us to do it, so that's what we're going to take care of. But it clearly looks like it's on the same side the repair was on, and it was fairly recent, under 1,000 miles. What we're going to do with an end cylinder, we're going to go ahead and set up and do a relative compression test with the E-scope to verify is cylinder 4 our dead hole. Once we do that, then we'll do an end cylinder on cylinder 4 and see if we do see a strong intake pocket telling us that we're not getting any lift out of the intake, which is what I'm suspecting we're going to find. I gotta get set up on the sink on cylinder 1. Verify I am on cylinder 1. I believe I am. I believe there's still odd and even banks on the old Chevrolet. In this case, a newer Chevrolet. But we'll take a quick look at service info. I already had it up. Take a snapshot, save in our OneNote. So I only got to keep chasing it. Let's go down here. Go back to service info. My page is already open. There it is. We'll grab us a quick snapshot. Save of this firing order and the cylinder bank layout, which it was what I thought it was. Edit, copy, go back to OneNote. Should be in our Suburban, yes. I'm back in our Suburban. What are you doing? Oh, didn't want to scroll for me. There we go. Paste. Well, there's my cylinder bank. Now it's there for me to go back and look at it again. When I start saying, okay, where's it at? I can easily find it. We're going to get set up, especially on the Violet pin 3 control side of this coil. We'll jump in here. I see the Violet. I'll take a quick look and verify. I'm pretty sure it's that one. But we'll take a quick look and verify again before we go wasting our time. Oh. Alright. Check meter. Yes, we got a good connection. We'll go back in here. Go back to the Zeus. I mean, everybody hates the Zeus. I know, yeah, all that good stuff. Voltage, violet, and blue. Ignition, cool control. Yes, that's the one. So that should be correct. But I find it pretty easy to navigate and get to my service info. But I do the same on this tool and that tool and every other tool too. Doesn't really matter. So we're set up. Firing order is loaded. We're on compression. We'll go ahead and start the test and do a clear flood and see if it says cylinder 4 is not a happy camper. And you'll hear it. It doesn't sound good. It's definitely picking on a couple cylinders, and I have suspicion they're all going to be on that bank. I got 7, 2, and 4. Ooh, that's not good. Did we get the right firing order loaded? I need to research this firing order to make sure, because I don't feel like chasing circles. On this RC test we took, we believe we have a problem with the cam that's adding starter load to the waveform we're capturing here, making it look like 7 and 2 have a problem. It looked like 6 and possibly 5's cranking load was added. My suspicion is the cam is damaged on that bank, more than likely causing extra starter load, is what my suspicion is. We added a current pattern that's coming up next that shows the higher current draw at cylinder 6 and cylinder 5, and I believe it's due to damage on the lifters and cam, is what I'm suspicious of. The engine is making noise. You can hear it when we're doing our RC test. You can hear the cranking, the squeaking. So I believe we actually have damage there that's adding to the load of the starter, which is making the software decipher it incorrectly. But I believe the software is excellent, does an excellent job, but we have an outside entity affecting the decipher. We'll save this. I'm working on, we're going to add a new folder. I'll title that folder 2016 Suburban. Missing. Open that file up. RC first. Okay. We don't want IEA yet. I'm questioning my firing order. 187-65372. I got 2 bad cylinders on 7 and 2. Hey, this ain't good. This ain't good at all. We have a full screen snip. Should be able to add it to my OneNote. Should be already in there, hopefully. My Zeus, the OneNote takes forever. I don't get it. There we are. It's in there. Thank you. God, it drives me crazy sometimes. Oops, I didn't want that. I want to add a screenshot right here of that. Now that's there. Now we got that. Say I love the tablet Service Pro Suite. Now I've got a screenshot of that there. I've got my firing order. I've got my wiring diagram of the coils and the deactivation solenoids, because I have a funny feeling we're going there. Well, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to tie into that crank. I'm concerned there is a failure on cylinder 4. But I'm concerned we got misfires on 7 and 2. I better look at this. I'm kind of wondering. I should have correct firing order. I'm going to go do some research, verify, make sure I do have correct firing order. Well, we're back to the 2016 Suburban with a DOD issue on cylinder 4. We'll walk you through what we got. I'll try to get you guys where you can actually see it. Alright. We did a relative compression test on this vehicle to start with. We had showing cylinder 7, cylinder 2, and cylinder 4. Misfire counters were only hitting 4. I believe with me rolling the voltage drop test, this was actually kind of inconclusive. This relative compression test was on cylinder 1. And this firing order, oh, I can't remember. 17, let's go find that real quick. It's in here. There it is. And the firing order is 187-62543. So 4 is the second cylinder from the last, which is our cylinder. It's only really cylinder that's showing it, but the voltage is getting spiked around so much. There's 18436. I keep going to the old one. The old GM firing order. 187-26543. So we'll just go 3 and 4 from the back. There's cylinder 1, cylinder 3, cylinder 4. You can see we clearly have no current voltage being dropped on 4. The rest of them we do see a voltage drop. So our software kind of blew it on that one. But then we tried to do a crank misfire, but my wiring diagram seems to not be correct for Mitchell. So I went ahead and broke out IEA, and it nailed it. Cylinder 4 being a misfire, and the rest of them looking fairly good, even though fuel control's all over the place. Then we went ahead and we did a cranking, running, and snap throttle in cylinder test. And you see we had cranking compression, and as soon as it started, our compression went down to like 10 psi. Then in acceleration, it went even lower. Here's an actual cranking event. Cranking was making 115 psi. You can see the large pocket in the intake where it was actually pulling vacuum when the intake valve should be open, and it was not. And here's the running. You can see the running, we got big vacuum pocket, obvious sign of a DOD failure. This thing was recently serviced on that bank too, unfortunately, and it seems to be a problem. Here's our vacuum pocket from a cranking pattern. You can see there's no vacuum. ATS shows vacuum rise, not fall. So we have no vacuum at that point on cylinder 4 in the reservoir. And here it is with cylinder cranking. You can see there's our vacuum event for that cylinder. And of course we have nothing in the intake reservoir. Plug we pulled out looked rather rough out of that cylinder. You can see it there. Looked pretty rough. And we're getting ready to make sure that we're not pulled down on the solenoid to the ground on the shut-off solenoid on cylinder 4. So we got to attempt to try to find and hope this diagram from Mitchell is actually correct, which is, as of now, I highly doubt it, because it hasn't been correct with anything else. I'd look for crank sensor, try to do a crank sensor misfire test on this before I get too deep. And of course, pin location wasn't the right collar wire. I checked it anyway, and no, it wasn't a crank signal. It looked like, it actually looked like a coil control. That's what my suspicion was, because it matched the coil control that I was getting directly from the coil off of cylinder 1. Didn't match it directly, but same signal, and was hitting the same amount of times in the 721 between the 720 of cylinder 1. So my suspicion was just another one of the coil controls. And we're going to try this and see if we can actually get, we should see 12 volts, 12.5, switch on, present there. They shouldn't be pulled to ground. We'll start it and see if cylinder 4 actually gets pulled to ground. Cylinder 4 should be on the yellow and blue. 43, 44, 63, and 64. So we'll start at 52 and count back to get to 43 and 44 and see if we can actually locate these two cylinders. And that will be cylinder 6 and cylinder 4. We're going to grab them all while we're there just to be thorough. Hopefully it's actually the right diagram, but I have a funny feeling it's incorrect. And it's really tough to get over there under the intake, but I may end up having to go there if I don't see the correct wiring collars at the X3 they call it. And the funny thing is, what I see on this computer is J3, not X3. Makes me think that Mitchell is wrong in their diagram. This is supposed to be a DOD, obviously. That's what the wiring diagram says, DOD. So it's got to be some kind of misprint or something from Mitchell. But there is nothing been correct on this thing. So I need to go from the second over, B52. This is X3, or J3 down there. 52, 51. Alright. And we'll be looking for 44 first. Yellow and blue, that'd be cylinder 4. We're going to hit it with our first channel. I dropped this shot of GDS in there where we took a look at GDS and seen we had no issues on the solenoids for the DOD. We did a resistance test, they all passed. The video was kind of roughed up, so I didn't bother to add it to this video post on YouTube. But it all passed, looked good, and of course GDS showed the same, that we're not having any kind of controls. What we seen on the scope. Thank you. And it looks incorrect. I've got a gray wire on. Let's check it again. 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, and 46. Color isn't matching. 44, alright. I think it might be correct because the light might have been right. Alright. Looks like a yellow and green, maybe. We'll check that color. If we can get in there. Yes, we're in there. Yellow and green. The yellow and blue, so I think we're correct. Then 43, the next one should be a gray. Yes, it's a gray. So these may actually be correct. I'm really struggling to get into that one. There it goes. Alright. Now the next two are 63 and 64. And they'll be on the back one. 63 and 64. So we'll start with 64 and note one behind it. Should be green. And blue. Let's check those colors, green, blue. Blue and green, yes. So that should be them. Those are actually correct. Now it says the crank sensor was 26 on this one, but the color wasn't correct. That's what pissed me off. $32. Should be that one. 32, 31, 29, 28, 27, 26, 32, 31, 30, 28. Yeah, it's not correct. I got a purple and blue. 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, I've got a blue. And I think it said, the other one said 56. And we're in 64 or 63. Yeah, and we're empty all the way back. So they didn't get the crank right, but they may have actually got the DODs right from the looks of that. So we'll get hooked up, take a quick look. See if we got voltage. We might use GSD to power one. Then we'll know we're definitely on the right because we're up on GDS now. Maybe power one to verify, yes, we're in the correct. I'm not sure. I should be able to turn them on temporarily, switch all on, engine off, I do believe. Get connected to a good ground at the battery. We want to know if maybe cylinder 4 is grounded, possibly driver damage on PCM. That's basically what we're looking for. If it's damaged, all that repair them people did at the dealer may be good, just needs a new ECM or some type of repair. We'd have to disconnect at the ECM and see if it's still grounded. And if it's not still grounded, we know it's not a short. I mean, we know it's a short in the ECM. If it is grounded, we'll know it's a short in the harness and needs to be chased. That's basically what we had to do to verify this failure, if there is one. Right now, knowing the DODs are pretty much common failing component on these engines. There's a possibility. Now I can't verify the manifold oil controller without having it out, pressurized with air, to see if we're leaking. As I looked at the procedure they have for it, I don't know if they have actually tell you to run it on the car or not. I know I've done spider injections, bench test quite a few times, and that's a good way of testing them. I just use air, shop air, control it with a secondary component, whether it's my OTC fuel injector. Now, of course, I've got the scope here, which would control them. I'd probably use it instead. All right, we want green, blue, and yellow, and red. Out and exposed. One's red. Actually, that's yellow. Try to keep it right so I can tell which is which. Yellow is 4, Green is 6. Red's gonna be cylinder 7. And blue's gonna be cylinder 1, I believe it is. The other one, I think it's 7, 1, 4, and 6. Alright. Yeah, 7, 1, 4, and 6. Alright. Let's pull up our meter. Verify we are connected to something. Hope you guys are seeing this. I don't know if you are or not. Alright, we'll get meter. We're showing no connection on 7 and 1. Or actually, there we go. Blue channel. There, oop. Oh boy. That one's not getting in there good. Let me give myself a little more cable so it don't pull on it. Come on. There we go, seem to be connected now. And we are showing 12 volts. I believe switch is on. So we're clearly not grounded. Now we're gonna do a quick start. Well, we got a vacuum leak or something on top of it. Sound like vacuum to me. Alright, we're clearly not grounded. This test is done. So we're good. That cylinder is missing right now due to compression issue. I don't even need to put the cylinder in there, cylinder in. I know it is. They're all good. I'm showing fluctuating voltage. You see no issues. Looks good. Nope. Alright, we got interrupted. Now we're going to go ahead and do our end cylinder capture of the good running cylinder. We're going to do a cranking and a running all together and save that to our files. This is going to be cylinder 5. We'll do a clear flood, let off the pedal, let it start, and then we'll capture a running and a snap on a good cylinder. Clear flood, let off, let it start, let it smooth out a little bit and idle. Now it'll snap and it'll just sell. There we go. We got it all. And we'll shut it off. We'll probably grab one more just running before we stop and pull everything back out of here. Now, as you can see, we got good cylinder here. Let's save this before we do anything. It's a 2016. 16. Chevy Suburban. Cylinder 1 pressure transducer is the only one we got using. 300 psi. Then I'll isolate the cylinder by going to unknown to make it custom. Type in cylinder 4. Cylinder 5. I'm going to type over here. I'm going to leave it unknown because I don't consider this a known good. The engine's running a little rough. Good cylinder from sample engine. With problem on other bank. On opposite. There we go. Let's make sure we save it in the right file. We want public, working on 2016 Suburban. There we go. Number 5, good cylinder, end cylinder, pattern or wave. Alright, save data. Now we'll get a capture, full screen SIP, share with a couple buddies that I've been communicating with, horsing around with. One of our Facebook groups, good friends. Haven't met them, but chatted with them many times. Also chatted with them. What is going on? Come on, Facebook. There we go. Then we'll go back and revisit. We'll take a look at it now. As you can see, this is our cranking pattern. The other one had 115. We have roughly 200 psi, almost 200 psi on the good cylinder. So we'll grab another shot of that. The share 2. And we'll zoom out to full. We'll come over here. Here's an eyed one. Capture. Actually looks like a good cylinder to me. I'm not seeing a problem there at all. It's definitely a good pattern. We're making 90 psi. Looks like an excellent cylinder. Now we was hitting at 60 on that bank. So let's go ahead and throw our cursors in real quick. Our exhaust valve was opening right around 60. Could be lifter issue, cam issue, who knows, but we're going to take a quick look there. See where this one opens. Yeah, this one's at about 45 maybe, with what I'm seeing. You guys aren't seeing none of this, are you? Oh, looks like it's seized up. Don't even know if it's... This is a cranking in-cylinder pattern of cylinder 4. You see the first tower, then you see your exhaust pocket, then you see the level out plateau of the exhaust opening back to atmospheric pressure. Then when it drops off, it goes into the intake stroke. Well, in this case, a cranking pattern, we normally do not see a vacuum pocket on the intake in a cranking pattern. This is telling us that this valve is not opening. It's closed, generating a vacuum pocket, which is a failure. This is a running capture taken on cylinder 4, and you see that it's only making 10 psi. You see the first tower, then you see the exhaust pocket, then you see the leveling off at atmospheric pressure. Then we get to the intake, and we see this large curve, which is uncommon. It's not what we're familiar with. We know the intake valve never opened, causing just a vacuum in the cylinder, not in the intake, not taking any air in, so we could not make compression because the volume in the cylinder never changed. We had a little trouble with our wiring diagrams, being able to locate the actual pin for the crank. and couldn't get underneath the vehicle because the lift was tied up. So we broke out IEA to do a running misfire check, and IEA quickly picked cylinder 4 as our misfiring cylinder, which sped up our diagnosis. This is a cranking pattern here of the intake. We've zoomed in, and ATS pressure transducer shows intake rise, not fall. And we can clearly see cylinder 4. We have no vacuum in the intake. It's only taking place inside the cylinder itself. This is a cranking, a idling, and a acceleration with decel of cylinder 4. You see the cranking pressure makes it up around 115 or so. Then it starts running and we're making no pressure. We're making like 10 psi. Then we accelerate it and it actually goes lower, telling us that we do have a problem in this cylinder. This is cylinder 5's running capture we took. It's a good looking cylinder. We're making about 90 psi running. All the valve vents look correct. You can see the big differences between it and cylinder 4. We decided to grab it for an example to save to our files. There's a reference of the good and the bad. Thought I'd share these and add a little audio instead of putting text up there. You guys have a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Thank you.